And we were going to make sure the whole world knows that we made a fair offer. He rolled the dice. He lost, and we slow him. We made him sign slow. No. You're signing that too fast. I want you to have to just really take this in. Take in the ungreased thing that you're taking right now. But he won. So he won. So you can have the same deal. You can fight, and then if you lose, we'll you. Slowly and unlubricated. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So I just watched Chael Sonnen's video from this morning. Actually, I watched it this morning, but now I'm doing a video about it. And it's about what if Tyson Fury was offered John Jones, or what if Dana White put up John Jones to fight Tyson Fury instead of Francis? What do you guys think? And I watched it. It's like, and you know, I also saw the survey that people put up about, you know, who would they rather see fight Tyson Fury? It seemed pretty overwhelming in Francis's favor. It's neither here nor there, because the most notable part of the video, in my opinion, was the part at the end when he gave an example of this real estate deal that kind of, you know, that there was a contract, the date expired, and after the date, you know, because people moved forward with a different, you know, seller or buyer or whatnot, they ended up going back and having to prove it in court.
But there's a number of scenarios playing out, and if we're going to defer to a contract, you're not going to like how that game goes. I will just share with you, you will not like how that game goes. It is not going to go the way that you think. I'll give you a quick situation, just a personal story. But I used to be in real estate, and I was representing a client, and they bought a house. We've got to close on May 16th. We did not. Paperwork wasn't in. May 17th rolls around. It's right there. Anybody that knows any level of literacy can see May 16th has come and gone. They can juxtapose that against their calendar, see it's the 17th, and see that we're in default of contract. The realtor for the other side went and sold the house to somebody else. Said, I have the right to. You missed the date. It's right there. 16th has come and gone. Well, young lady, that's not for you to decide. I happen to agree with you. My clients happen to agree with you. We all can see, we all can read, and we all see that you're right. But the only person that can decide this, if we want to contest the contract, is a judge.
That contract was no longer good after that day. Basically, he's in plain English. If you actually understand the situation that is actually happening, he's saying that if Francis thinks that he can just go fight after whatever his contract expiration date is, he's going to go to court. Like he's saying the UFC is going to sue you. Like you can't just like, he's basically saying that you can't just operate as if the end date on your contract is the end date on your contract without thinking that you're going to have to go to court and fight it out. So, I mean, it's a very extremely thinly veiled threat that you're not going to be able to just go do this without the UFC, without them tying you up in court. I mean, that's plain and simple. I mean, it's obvious. And we've talked about this a million times. Like if you want to know what the UFC's thinking, just watch Chael's channel and then think like a person who's in the middle of a negotiation and be like, okay, so what's he driving towards? Because that was as crystal clear as anything could possibly be. Okay, you guys understand Francis's situation is that he has an end date on his contract. It's like your contract is a certain amount of time. The end date is somewhere around the end of the year this year. And then after that date, Francis is a free agent, okay? So obviously this isn't rocket science. He's saying if you just go fight him, okay, just like my real estate deal, you're going to have to fight it out in court. So here's the thing. Here's how you read this, right? Okay, so what did he say? Like, what did he actually say in this video in all of these different kind of categories? So number one, he said, what if Dana put up John Jones to fight Tyson Fury? Okay, so that's a hypothetical that has the UFC collaborating with Tyson Fury. So what he's saying is the UFC is open to co-promoting a Tyson Fury fight, okay? That's A. B, he said that in the event that Francis just goes and does this on his own, then they'll sue him. But what he also said is he said, in his example, he said, we knew the contract had expired. In his real estate example, he said, we knew the contract had expired. They knew the contract had expired. Everyone knew the contract had expired. But nonetheless, you needed a judge to decide that the contract had expired. So what'd he say? What'd he say? He said, they know the contract expires at this date. He's just, I mean, he basically inadvertently said that they know that the contract will expire on this certain date, and they know that technically he would be a free agent, but nonetheless, they're still going to take him to court. Here's the thing. So I'm a person, when I'm in business, all I care about is outcomes, dude. I don't care. My ego is tied to the fact that I don't let my ego get in the way. Like that's where I drive my ego from, or derive my ego from in business, is the fact that I can allow things that would used to set me off to where I'd be like, fuck these guys, and I would make bad decisions. Or that I watch lots of other people in the same situation, or even my business partners in many cases. They hear a thing come across and they blow up and they make bad decisions. The way I classify a bad decision is a decision that is not going to lead to money, right? Like I have one metric, okay? Revenue. Also, not being in business with people that I don't want to be in business in, not setting ourselves up to have problems in the future. I mean, like all of those things. But the overarching driving metric is business success, which is measured by growth and revenue, right? Now, if you get into a thing where you're angry, and so you want to bury a guy, there's no money in that, dude. There is no money in that. There's no money in conflict. You ever heard the story of how the American mafia was set up? You had all these warring Italian gangs, and they just were like, okay, look, like we can all just go kill each other in the street over and over. You know, like you try to take my territory, I try to take your territory. We end up spending all of our time fighting with each other, and we all make less money. Or we could create a council called the Commission, and when we have problems, we go to the table, we negotiate them out. If someone needs to get killed, fine, but we negotiate, and then we decide who gets killed. We're not going willy-nilly in the street and just whacking everybody out. We're not blowing up bars. We're not blowing things up. We're collaborating together because that's where the money is. And then all of them made way more money. They became incredibly powerful. And the moral of that story is there's no money in conflict, okay? And so in this situation, right, listen, I made no secret about this. I'm friends with people on Francis's team. I know what's important to Francis. I know it. And there's nothing that is blocking Francis from doing a deal with the UFC under the right circumstances. Literally, like the only thing I've ever heard him say or heard the position to be is like, he just wants to be treated as a partner. Like, that's it. He just wants to be treated as a partner. That's all. He wants to be a partner. He doesn't want to be treated as an employee. He wants to be treated as a partner. And given the current situation, that's not an unreasonable ask. You know, you've got them over in England promoting the shit out of this fight. Like there's a fucking golden goose on a plate. There's enormous money to be made. Like I don't know, like why are the parties talking to each other through YouTube videos? You know, like what, you know what I mean? Like if you want to tell Francis that if he does this fight after his contract's up, why don't you guys sit down at a table and talk to each other about it? Like, you know, because I've heard Francis say they've had no contact with the UFC, no official contact with the UFC. You know, like Dana is not sitting down at a table with Markel and CAA or Hunter and them. They're not like sitting down and being like, okay, so what's important to you guys? What's important to us? Because like if they're not talking to each other and they're just sending sending messages across like telephone through YouTube videos and other kinds of random like interviews and stuff, that to me just looks like, I don't know. That seems like conflict costing money. There's an enormous deal here, an enormous deal, and everybody can make out. The way that you solve this is everybody gets at a table and you just talk about it. It's like, all right, so what's important to you guys? Here's what our concerns are. Here are the things that we have to navigate, because there are a lot of things the UFC has to navigate. Anybody knows that. Like anybody who understands this business for real understands there is complexity in any kind of deal like this. You're talking about precedent. You're talking about sponsorships. You're talking about all kinds of stuff that comes into play that like a regular Joe that's just kind of looking at the situation doesn't know about, right? And then there's the whole other thing that I kind of shudder to even bring up because, I don't know, to get a deal done, this is a really important thing too, which is like, well, Francis gets to do it. How come I don't get to do it? You know, that kind of thing that they don't want to have to deal with. But Francis is going to be a free agent. Now, so basically, I mean, think about it like this. If your two options are this, if you're either side, right? Like if you're Francis' side, you're like, we're doing this thing by ourselves. We're, you know, like, I don't know, whatever Francis said. He said, we're going to do this with or without the UFC. Okay, cool. But I know that Francis wants to be the champion in UFC. Like being one of the 3 African champions, very important to him. Like not a small deal, even a little bit. He just wants to be treated as a partner. I have no idea if he's ever said that to the UFC. Like, I don't know, you know? Like, if the two sides aren't talking, how would they know that, you know? Like, how would they know that he wants to do that? Like, his heart is in that place, and he just wants to be treated as a partner. And the UFC, if now they're saying, like, it sounds like they're open to doing the Tyson Fury fight, like, why aren't they saying that directly to, like, why don't they just sit down, dude? You know? Like, just throwing out there, like, we'll sue you if you do this without us. I just don't, like, I don't understand. I don't, like, so, okay, well, if you're open to doing it, why aren't you talking to it? Like, why aren't they talking? I mean, it's like both sides. It's like, why don't you guys reach out to the UFC? UFC, why don't you reach out to them? Like, why don't you guys sit down at a table? Dana seems like a reasonable guy that could get deals done. I know the guys over here are reasonable because I've talked to them. Like, just, I mean, I guess I'm not really in a position to tell the UFC how to run their business, certainly. And I'm not, as a matter of fact, I'm not in a position to tell anyone how to run their business. I could just tell you that in my experience, how I run my business is I think about things and I go, is my ego even involved in the decision that I'm making right now? Am I behaving in any capacity based on my ego? And if I am, then I take a step back and I think about it and then I reassess every single time. It's the enemy of business success. You know, it might give, you know, like, there's no fucking shock. It's the fight business, dude. It's the fucking fight business. Oh, shocker. There's a bunch of fucking alpha guys that like don't like feeling like they're taking a backward step ever. Fucking shocker, dude. You know, like, well, that's a real big surprise. There's a lot of guys that are all, oh yeah, fuck that guy, man. Oh yeah? No, fuck you. No. Fuck you, guy. All right. We'll see. You know, there shouldn't be any surprise that's a constant fucking battle. The battle, it should be the ability to just be like, okay, so maybe let me put myself in their position. Like, why would they have interpreted that? Okay, so they made a fair, what they thought was a generous offer. We didn't take it. Okay, well, we've made pretty clear what our asks are. We don't feel like they're respecting our asks. Okay, well, you know, it's like, it's easy to do, like, and I will certainly acknowledge it's easier to do, like, you know, when you're not involved, but I do it even when I am involved. You know, I really do. Now, maybe that'll change if I've got $200 fucking million in the bank, and now it's kind of like, I don't know. It's more fun to say fuck you, but like, the fans want to see a fight. Fans want to see Tyson Fury fight Francis. Francis wants to fight Tyson Fury. I would imagine the UFC wants to be part of an enormous event again. Like, everybody has the same incentive structure. Like, don't sue him. Just call him. You know? Like, don't fucking sue him. Just fucking call him. And like, just accept the fact that the Tyson Fury fight is important to him. Like, and if given that he's going to be a free agent at a certain point, you're unlikely to convince him to not take that fight. As a matter of fact, he has openly stated he's not moving forward without that fight. He said it in an interview. I heard it myself. They're doing the Tyson. So like, don't make that a blocker. Just accept it. Like, it's fine. He won the fights. Like, he won. Not only did he win the fights, like, not only did Francis win the fights to become a free agent, he's got himself into the fucking ring with Tyson Fury at Wembley Stadium, dude. He is doing the work. Like, all I ever hear from the UFC is like, why aren't these guys doing more to promote themselves? Why aren't these guys doing more? You know, like, listen, it's not our job to just fucking promote. I mean, we promote you, but fighters need to promote themselves. Fucking hello. He is doing exactly what you want him to do. And then if he does this Tyson Fury fight, what the fuck do you think that's going to do to his brand afterwards? He's going to be a fucking huge star. And then you have him fight John Jones afterwards? There's nothing but upside here. I understand. I mean, let me just say, I understand if you let him do the fight, the numbers get out, that's challenging because other fighters are going to be like, well, fuck that. I want to do that thing. Well, guess what, dude? You're not an unrestricted free agent, okay? Like, that's, you know, it might be like, you know, you might have to have some uncomfortable conversations as the UFC, but I mean, it's how uncomfortable is this? You're not a fucking free agent, dude. You don't have the leverage that Francis had. Sorry. I mean, is that what you want? You want to fight your contract out? You want to roll the dice like that? We'll treat you just like Francis. We'll let you fight your contract out, and then you can go negotiate whatever fucking external deal that you want, and we'll threaten to sue you without it. But guess what? If you fucking try to fight your contract out and you lose, we're going to fuck you. we're going to fuck you. Just like we were going to fuck Francis, because Francis turned out a more than fair deal. And then we were going to fuck him. We were going to fuck his fucking ass. We were going to bend him over the table and make him take it slow, real slow. Fuck the shit out of him. And we were going to make sure the whole world knows that we made a fair offer. He rolled the dice, he lost, and we slow fucked him. We made him sign slow. No. You're signing that too fast. I want you to have to just really take this in. Take in the ungreased fucking that you're taking right now. But he won. So he won. So you can have the same deal. You can fight, and then if you lose, we'll fuck you. Slowly and unlubricated. Slow and unlubricated. Is that what you want? Go ahead. And if you win, then we'll maybe co-promote a fight because we won't have a choice. But if you don't, we'll see. Francis left millions of dollars on the table. Are you willing to do that? Are you sure? Are you sure you want to roll the dice? Maybe you like getting fucked, huh? Maybe you want me to slow fuck you. Probably not, though, because what we're actually talking about is taking lots of money away. Giving you shit, like not only paying you less, so much less, but also making sure that all the matchmaking is like, we'll give you nobody on your undercard, like we'll fucking bury you. And they can. But Francis won. And so when other people come knocking, fuck you, dude. You're not in Francis's position. But other people can take the same deal. Like if you become an unrestricted free agent and then you demand something, guess what, dude? You have a lot of leverage, like Francis does. No one has ever been in this situation before. Like that's the thing people don't understand. Like at least that's what I would say. If I'm the UFC, I would just be like, look, man, are we gonna treat do I need to talk to you like a baby or can I talk to you like a man? Like, because I'm gonna tell you, you think we wanted to do that fight? Like you think that we were like really excited to do that fight? If we were excited about doing the fight, why wouldn't we have been talking about it before? We didn't want to do it. But guess what? Francis was the heavyweight champion of the world. He became an unrestricted free agent. We didn't really have a choice, man. Okay? You're not in that position. Okay? I'm telling you like a big boy. You're not in that fucking position. Okay? And I'm not even talking to anybody specific. Like, I want to see Kamaru fight Canelo, for the record. I'm not talking about Kamaru. I'm just saying, like, in general, if the concern is like future people demanding the same thing, you can either give it to them or you don't. I mean, you'd sell the fuck out of a Canelo and Kamaru fight. Let me just say that. If I was unclear about that in my other video, I think you'd sell the fuck out of that fight. I just know the UFC probably doesn't want to do it, but they might not have a choice. I have no idea what Kamaru's contract looks like. I have no idea how many fights he has left. I just know the optics are bad for, like, we're doing a boxing match. You fight, and then if you become a big enough star, you get to go get your real payday in boxing. Like, I understand that's terrible optics. So, I don't know, maybe don't make the pay public. Or maybe do it like you do in the UFC where, yeah, Francis fighting Tyson Fury and he's getting $8 million. Side letter, side letter. 8 million, fully disclosed. Maybe a little bit more on the side that you guys don't know about, but whose business is that? Not yours. So there are ways to solve this. I don't know anything about like how like sponsorships or whatever, but there are ways to solve this thing. Just, talk. That's all I'm saying. Everybody just talk, man. Because I want to see that fucking fight. I don't want to see Francis get sued. I want to see him fight Tyson Fury. And I love the UFC. I want to see the UFC win at everything, dude. I am Switzerland, dog. Consider me Switzerland. I've already said what I wanted to happen. Crystal clear. I think the UFC should use this to launch Zuffa boxing. You get Francis paid. He gets a fucking fortune, which he deserves. Think about it like this. If the UFC is able to leverage this event to launch Zuffa boxing, so they get Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou to launch Zuffa boxing, and then that becomes a premier boxing brand where they box in MMA gloves. You're telling me Francis doesn't deserve an enormous payday? When someone else comes there, I want blah, blah, blah. Dude, Francis helped us launch a fucking sport, pal. Okay? Think about this shit, dude. You fucking do that, and then your next event is Canelo versus Kamaru. Think about that, dude. Think about that shit. Francis versus Tyson Fury in MMA gloves is your fucking inaugural Zuffa boxing event, and then your follow-up is fucking Canelo versus Kamaru. you got yourself a sport right there, son. You got yourself a duplicated business model to the UFC. I'm just saying, these are ideas that pop through my head. That's all I'm saying. But Francis is going to fight Tyson Fury anyway. Why would anyone want to see him get sued? That's bad fucking optics, man. Like during all the fighter pay stuff and then someone actually like fights to the end of their contract and you fucking sue them. That's bad optics, man. That's not good. That's not a good outcome. Now, I don't know if Chael is even speaking on behalf of the UFC. Sounded pretty fucking specific though. Anyway, that's what I've got. I love you guys. I'm going to do a video right now about Brendan Schaub. Another one because Unique has responded to Schaub. Also, I just put up a video on Jesse on Everything that is the bomb. It's one of my better ones. It's about Elon Musk fucking with Bill Gates, and it's hilarious. Well, that's hilarious. It's not like a super funny video, but the Schaub and Unique one will be. So anyway, love you guys. Peace.